Hey, Brent, are you with me?
Hey, I'm here, Tim. Can you hear me?
Man, I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great today.
Well, cool. Thanks for taking the time out. I know you got a lot of stuff going on and doing this with me. For those of you watching this, Brent, I'm actually going to set a timer on my phone. I want to try to keep this under 8 minutes. I know when me and you get to going, it can be a while. So I'm
Yeah.
going to try to keep it under 8 minutes. But everybody that's going to watch this interview, um, me and Brent are personal friends. We met each other through this opportunity 3 years ago, and we've really become more like brothers than anything else. And that's one of the special things about this, in my opinion, is, I thought I had really good friends and I thought I had people in my life that I really cared about, and I did. But I come into something like this and you'll really find some amazing people. And this guy's like a brother to me. We ran the roads together. We've gone on vacations together, traveled together. But today I want to kind of take you guys back. Now, here's somebody who's made over $2 million with this opportunity inside of the last 5 years. So I want you to pay attention. But he started, like many of you, looking at it for the first time. Now, Brent, when I saw this for the first time, me and my father were invited to check it out by somebody we didn't know hardly at all. Now, my dad's you know my mom and dad very well. So my dad elbowed me and said, "This is a scam. This is a scheme," and he was ready to leave right then. Didn't want to talk about it. Being the situation I was in, a little more open-minded, I don't know, Dad, it looks a little different than other things I've seen before. Stuck around, asked some questions, and I got started, had a lot of success. My mom and dad now have come on board and had a lot of success. But what was it like for you? Now, I've heard your story, and I remember you talking about your wife was cooking okra. Bring me back to day one for you when you were introduced to this, and how you were introduced to it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I mean, I was a high school football coach, a principal. So, we dealt. My wife's an educator, so we're Alabama. We love fried cooking, and so yeah, she was cooking okra. But it was by a good friend of mine that introduced us to this, and I laugh because people talk about being skeptical. I was skeptical. I showed up, and literally, I remember seeing the black BMW in the driveway and thinking, "Oh, they've rented this thing and drove it down to sell me on their opportunity that was going to change my life forever." uh, and like you, Tim, I just I listened because that's who I am. I'm going to listen. I never thought I would do it, but when I sit there and listen, it made sense. And what I realized was they didn't convince me. They didn't pressure me. They just pretty much said, "We're going to do this in a big way. This company is in a handful of states. It's been out for 7 years at the time. And you know what? It's going to be a household company one day. You got a chance to figure it out and join us before it is." And I thought, my mind went more through the night to what if. Even though I was a little skeptical, a little leery, I'd never done the industry before. It was more, I got people today shop online. I know that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that people are buying on Amazon every day. So I'm like, what if this nutritional company goes through the roof, becomes a household name, and for the price of an iPhone, I don't get involved? That really was where my mind was. And I did miss some warm okra that night. I had to warm it up in the microwave.
Well, I know when you got started, you had a few things. You looked at it. I know you went and talked it over with your wife. You told your wife, "Don't worry about it. I'm not going to do it." You come back home. What was that conversation like with your wife when you came back?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she was like, "Thought you wasn't going to be gone long." And I just told her, I said, "Ann, it's different. It's more teamwork. It's more support." And quite frankly, they said they would teach me and coach me.
Guys, I think Brent got a call, but he'll be right back.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Now go ahead.
So, and I just said they said they would coach me, teach me, and show me how to create an income stream part-time using a way to generate online, and so I was excited. What they didn't know that night, Tim, was we had taken in 2 kids to live with us. They were 15 years old when we took them in, and we had 2 kids of our own. So for 2 educators, most people know fixed income, we were in debt and going deeper and deeper in debt. So my mind was already around, I've got to do something or I'm going to be somewhere I don't want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brent, I know your heart in this, and mine as well. We really are passionate about helping people. When I took the plunge, decided to do it, I really didn't care what people thought. I was living with my mother and father-in-law. Any bit of pride that I had was stripped away when we lost our house and our cars. And so I went out there with a reckless abandonment. I mean, if you thought I was doing something that it was a scam, or if you said, hey, building a business online, you can't make money online, all that negative stuff that I heard, it just fueled my fire, pissed me off, and it was the wind beneath my wings, and I liked it. But you were in a different situation. You and your wife, both teachers in your small town of Florence, Alabama. You're a high school administrator, a football coach. What people think about you does matter. And I know you talked some about having to work through that in the beginning. What was that like for you? What kind of held you back in the beginning, and why did it change?
Yeah, totally. I had to change. Social acceptance, Tim. I had people in my community that I was kind of, friends, family, relatives, people that I coached, their kid, their parents, that I was really, at the end of the day, if I really wanted to be honest with myself, it was more worried about what people would think about me. And then there come a point in time, I guess the transition, where I realized that their thoughts doesn't pay my bills. And to be honest with you, what I really figured out was they have the same problems I do. And they're really not saying anything about what I got going on. It's not really, they might say something, but 2 minutes later, they forgot about it and they're going on with their world. But I got caught up at first in a web of social acceptance. I was worried about what people thought about what Brent was doing, this little part-time thing that today has turned into over a $2 million income stream for our family. I don't say that, I say it very humbly, but I had to get past that social acceptance.
Well, let me hit something real quick, and we're winding it down. But you mentioned this little part-time thing that you were doing. 90% of everybody that comes in here starts doing it part-time. I did myself. You were working as a full-time a high school administrator. Your wife was a teacher. You've taken in 2 twin boys. You got 2 kids of your own. And I know your kids involved in sports and everything else. You were busy. But you had also, at that same time, still working your full-time job, had started creating an income. What kind of income were you seeing while still working your full-time job and doing this on the side?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for me, my first 10 days, I made $500 here, okay? Put it in savings, paid off some credit card. Then, within my first 2 months of being in Limu, I literally qualified for the BMW. So, guys, ever since that day, I've been getting a $600 car allowance every single month. It's been almost 5 years. But I started seeing enough income that paid for my mortgage. And then I just watched him as we worked it part-time. 1,000 turned into 2,000 a month, turned into 4,000 a month. Before the end of my first year, we were almost tipping 6 figures within the company. And again, I'd never done the industry before. I was just being coached, and then I was applying the principles that was taught.
So you're a high school administrator showing up. I heard you talk about your job was to go out in the morning and bring the buses in. So before this, you're broke, you're strapped, going deeper and deeper in debt. And then what changed when you were bringing the buses in, Brent? I love this part of your story.
Oh, first of all, I'm waving a lot faster. Okay. I'm out sipping on my Bluetooth. Everybody thought the energy drink for Limu must be massive because I had all this energy all of a sudden. But what they really didn't realize was it was the extra income coming in. It was the relief of being paycheck to paycheck, to be able to carry my family out to dinner, to be able to take them on a trip, to be able to know that I had enough income that when time come for cars and college, I had that taken care of. The burden was lifted. And so I was just a happy person to be around every single day.
No, I can imagine. That's awesome. So I want to wind down and stop here. I'm just going to say there's people looking at this. There's people watching at that. And here's watching this and wondering a couple things. Number one, is this a legitimate business? Is it for real? Number two, can I do it? Now, I'll be the first to tell anybody that, you know what, you might not be cut out for it. This isn't for everybody. You're your own boss. You have to be a self-starter. You have to wake up in the morning and want to do something with your life. And quite frankly, not everybody is that way. But can you do it is the question. Yes, it's a legitimate business. People can do their research, but I think something remarkable about you. Tell me about your Facebook account when you got started. We do this all on Facebook. Tell me about how great your Facebook account was.
I didn't have one, Tim. Did not have a Facebook account. Guys, I was a principal, so I didn't really want one. But then I generated one because I wanted to be coachable, and they told me they were going to start teaching me how to do. And so I created a Facebook account. And so, guys, I did not know anything about social media. And within of working this, being trained, coaching the system, as maxed out my Facebook. It's been an online business, but I did not have an experience prior to starting this with social media.
Well, thanks, Brent. I appreciate you jumping on. We went well over my timer. I knew that was going to happen when me and you start talking. But
can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like 10 seconds, okay? Guys, if you're looking, here's what I'd tell you, and Tim just mentioned it. A company, we're 13 years old, but we're in a handful of states, guys. We're licensed in all 50 states, globally, I think like 20 countries. The owner of this company, Tim, was a part of a company that went from 18 million to over 500 million in an 18-month time span.
Wow.
I'm telling the person that's serious about getting coached here, plug in, look around, see if it's a fit for you. But I'm telling you, we're right place, right time, right company. The explosion's coming.
Perfect. Brent, I appreciate you taking the time, brother. Can't wait to hang out with you and see you in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tim.
All right, guys. Bye.